Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk KFYO. We start off this morning by visiting with the national spokesperson for the RNC, Liz Harrington, joining us once again here on the Chad Hasty Show. Liz, good morning. Welcome back. How are you today?
Hey, Chad. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. There's a lot of places we could start. Following you on Twitter. You're out there in the middle of this, trying to keep Republicans informed of the process and what is going on. And I guess we'll just start right there. Where are we? The media has called this for Joe Biden. The Democrats have called this for Joe Biden, but the Republicans and President Trump not giving up, and nor should they.
Oh, absolutely. And welcome to year 4 of the media manipulating reality and trying to tell you that the opposite is true. It was Russia collusion, right? When in fact it was Democrats who were colluding with the Russians. It was, we're going to impeach you in Ukraine for what you did, when in fact we were impeaching you for what Joe Biden did. And of course, this complete fraud of pretending that Joe Biden is the president-elect, he is not. We won. I cannot stress this enough to your listeners. We've won. It's just a matter of the results being certified of every legal vote and every illegal vote being thrown out as it rightfully should. This is about free and fair elections. This is about our constitutional republic. So where we are right now, there are a couple things. In Detroit, we have 131 affidavits exposing real fraud there. In Wisconsin, there's an automatic recount where we will win Wisconsin. We will not allow the Democrats to play their games and count that falsely. We will win Wisconsin. Arizona is still being counted, and we're still looking good there. Pennsylvania, regardless of what the media lies and says about it, is still being counted, and they're still in person on Election Day, which we know the red wave was very real. There are still votes to be counted, which are overwhelmingly in our favor. But we are not going to let anything be left to chance, be left to what the Democrats are doing in all of these battleground states. No, we're exposing the fraud. We have over 500 affidavits now. We have over 11,000 incident reports, which we're vetting and going through because this is systemic. This is corruption, and this is brazen. It's right in your face. But we have the rule of law in this country, and we have several avenues that are being pursued right now that I believe we will win Pennsylvania outright because what the Democrats did was unconstitutional, illegal, and it will not stand.
Liz, for whether it's Fox News now or CNN, MSNBC, everybody keeps calling for evidence that there's no evidence that the president is stating this without any evidence that is out there. It's only been a few days since the election, and like on day 3, they're wanting everybody to show all the evidence. Normally that comes out in court cases, right? Is that when the evidence is going to be presented, when this finally gets into the courts and there's a battle in the court system? I think didn't the president say Monday we were going to start seeing evidence this upcoming Monday?
Well, you can open your eyes and see evidence, the mainstream media. What Fox News did in and of itself is a fraud. They didn't call Florida for hours. They didn't call Texas for hours, and yet they called Arizona, and we're still counting ballots there. That on its face is fraud. But there's a funny trick they pull. They say, where is the evidence? And then you have a press conference where you show the evidence, and they cut away and say, whoa, you can't say that. Where's the evidence? We're not going to show you the evidence. We have affidavits. That's called evidence. There's signed sworn statements. We have whistleblowers coming forward in Pennsylvania and in Michigan that show that the election workers were breaking the law. They were delivering ballots at 4:30 in the morning from cars with out-of-state license plates. with ballots that had no chain of custody, no dates on them, no registered voter behind them. So what did they do? They said, oh, enter all of this as a birth date of January 1st, 1900. That's called evidence, and that's called fraud. And it's right there. We're compiling it all. Our lawyers are, by the grace of God, they're working so hard, 24 hours a day, uncovering this and following every true lead. This is not about manufacturing anything. This is about exposing the truth, and that's evidence. And it's on tape, by the way. You cannot count ballots without poll watchers present. They are violating court orders. It's on tape, and yet they say that where's the evidence? Well, it's right there, and you have to do your job and you have to look for it. But rest assured, we're going to do their job for you because we don't have a media in this country. We don't have social media in this country that's free and fair. They are trying to usher in this left-wing administration propping Joe Biden to do it. We're not going to let that happen. This is still the United States of America. I didn't wake up and look around and say, oh, this is nice. This is Venezuela. No, we didn't. We have a rule of law in this country. We're going to follow the rule of law, and every legal vote counted and will be brought to light. Will show President Trump won this, not just squeaking this out. This is a landslide. And it's always been a landslide. It's called a red wave. We've got 10 states flipped in the United States House. We held the Senate. We flipped state legislatures in New Hampshire. Democrats didn't do a single one. And you're telling me the only beneficiary in this election was Joe Biden, the guy who couldn't fill 6 circles out at campaign events, the guy they put a lid on this entire year? No. The evidence is in plain sight. But guess what? It's also in hard fact. It's also in 500 affidavits and 11,000 incident reports in Fulton County, in Philadelphia, in Allegheny County, where they stopped the count in Pennsylvania outside Pittsburgh, where they blocked our poll watchers, in Wayne County in Michigan, in Clark County, Nevada. All of these places, we're exposing them, and the truth will win because it always does.
Liz, let me ask you this. I think they finally called North Carolina yesterday. Arizona, like you said, they're still counting ballots in Arizona. What do you think is the most likely path? Is it flipping Pennsylvania and Michigan?
I think it's Arizona will be ours, and I think Pennsylvania will be ours. And I also think Wisconsin was already ours as well, and that's an automatic recount. And they have a very good system in place for recount, so we will be able to expose that they were counting a lot of fraudulent ballots that shouldn't have counted for Joe Biden in the middle of the night. So we have multiple paths here. North Carolina was ours, and it always had been ours, but that's finally being called by decision desk. And Georgia, we also have runoffs there. I believe there's a lot of fraud to be exposed. The truth will win here. And it's very clear what's going on. They're trying to prop him up and say, we have to usher in and coordinate this new administration before you find out if we're still the United States of America again.
Well, and we're
not going to let that happen.
You go back to let's just go back to 2000, Bush versus Gore. That took 36 days to figure out everything there. We're a week after the election now. And we've got all these pieces coming out about how the president is a dictator for not conceding the election where votes are still being counted. You've got pieces that are out saying that the president is harming the transition process and will harm the response to the coronavirus, even though under this president's administration, we just had a couple of pretty good news days regarding coronavirus and future vaccines and antibodies. And the media just wants to, just inflame the tensions right now.
And they want to shut down. Look, they're already pushing the lockdowns, just like we said would happen. You know what harms the coronavirus response? Putting Ezekiel Emanuel in charge of it, the guy who thinks life isn't worth living after age 75. Okay, look, we exposed all this. We told everyone, and that's why the forgotten men and women came out in record numbers for this president. I cannot stress this enough. President Trump got 9 million more votes than he did last time. That is historic. The Hispanic American vote African American vote, women vote, all across the board. This president, we showed up for him because he loves the country and he's worked so hard. And you can darn well believe we're going to fight for him right now because this is about right and wrong. This is about truth, and we're not going to let the media lie and manipulate and usher this in. We have a constitutional republic here. The media doesn't get to decide anything. Like you said, if they did, we'd have had a President Gore. We would have had a President Dewey. We would have never had a Republican president. We would have had Russia collusion, right? We would have had Brett Kavanaugh not ever sitting on the Supreme Court. But what actually happened? Michael Avenatti went to jail because truth matters. Truth wins. And just because they're in overdrive, because they're so desperate, because they know their lies and their stealing is going to be exposed, and they're trying to push this alternate reality, it never wins. Because if it did, we wouldn't have had record. We wouldn't have record people, African Americans and Hispanic Americans, coming out to support this president. After 4 years of lies about this president trying to destroy his character, the truth still wins, and people see the truth. And that's why we're going to win this election, because we already have.
Liz Harrington, national spokesperson for the RNC. Appreciate your work. Appreciate you joining us today, and let's check in again soon.
Thank you so much. Don't give up the faith and don't give up the fight.
Thank you, Liz. Appreciate your time. That's Liz Harrington, national spokesperson for the RNC.